Ok, am venit, guys. Sunt aici.
Haide.
Ok, cum ați văzut și în titlu, astăzi o să reacționăm la...
Ne riscate, știi tu, nu, ne este a fost acolo.
No, bun.
stepping stone. They haven't made it to an international land before. LCQ is just one step closer to making their first ever World Finals.
And here to represent Brazil, we have the newest brawler in All Stars. It's me.
That at some point, Ollie, and there's no denying that brawler, especially. It's just so confrontational at the moment. The speed in which they're hypercharged, they break the distance, is just unmatched.
We want to zoom in a bit more on the first 4 matches of today. And already, what's one thing you're still working
Mikrofon on iyi başladı. React. Böyle bir şey. Dur be. Böyle.
hoping to happen today?
Well, if you look at the bottom row there, I think you'll see I'm the only one to take Revenant X-Mark as a victor there. I think that inner circle is such a stacked team. They're looking so strong, but I feel a little bit of magic in the air. Sergeant is here. Have their first LCQ run be one that leads them to the World Finals.
Whether you agree with our predictions or not, we want to know your votes as well. Make sure to head over to eventthebrawlstars.com and type in your predictions right now. We're going to have a look at them later on as well. So we're going to stay tuned, and you have now a little bit of time to still lock in your predictions for the first match. That first match, let's head straight into it. It's none other than BC Gaming versus Team Electro. So we have two-thirds Brazilian team here on site.
That's the home field advantage. It's going to be the first time ever for our South American teams that historically have had so much difficulty at international lands. Now they finally don't have to deal with jet lag. They're going to be here with a home crowd supporting them. This is a really stacked roster. I'm going to come out and say it. On home turf especially, a massive, massive boost to them. Jubilee, the logo for Derb, this is their chance to shine. Jubilee, of course, no stranger to LCQs in that regard. All logo go back to the 2023 LCQ with Data Survey, but for Jubilee last year, for esports, they had a fantastic LCQ run, knocking out Tribe Gaming along the way. Then we move over to Team Electro. So this is just one of the key stories of this entire tournament. Team Electros is a team that barely even made it here, of course. They made it through due to sort of a snafu with Elevate, and Rafiki is going to be the only real remaining member of the original squad at the beginning of the year, as Libby joined mid-season and Diego Gamer is to fill those shoes up alone.
Such an interesting team we're looking at here. A bit of a mix-up, and I feel like they still stand strong on that stage. Is Libby the only one with some LAN experience, though? He has the most of all 6 players on stage, though, with 8 LANs under his belt already. Now we have a little look here again. On the left-hand side, we have this BC Gaming roster. They represent Brazil. They're playing on their home turf. This could very well mean they have a good chance to win today.
I feel like, again, it is going to be that full player for the team. It really is. I think that the crowd is going to really spur that energy and bring it.
I think they would be making it into LCQ. They did not have as much prep time as other teams ready before.
As Gamer coming in from a world final.
Very skilled.
And now is the time to introduce our teams. Representing Brazil with focus and determination.
Nincs megelőzte.
Nincs
The
az
other teams.
Most
The
túl piros
underdogs
pedig
here
tényleg.
to electrify the game.
They're entering the stage and the cage that we built around those two, ready for the cage fight. And especially Derp here, we're having a little look at him. He looks a little nervous, but he's still ready to throw down.
Nervous is definitely like on This is his first ever postseason ever. This is his first land ever for the guy. But he is a standout player from this roster. The other two have, been in international competitions before, usually actually going out in the early rounds. It's time for Dirk to prove himself. This is his first chance. This is how he's going to establish his reputation.
And on the other side, we have Team Electros again. Also here, the Unk as Livy that brings in the experience. What do you feel like has been his last words to his teammates coming onto the stage?
I think one of leadership. I think when you look at Ellis' journey this year, it's been one that he's really had to battle through, starting the year, of course, with the Elevate roster with Mancos and Zar, and then they're disbanded, leaving him with no team after starting the year, being dropped from Tribe Gaming. A really, really tough position to find himself in to get to this place at all, and now a real opportunity. I think that they've got a very strong squad. It's just have they had the time to really come together as that unit.
We see many people in the crowd rooting for BC Gaming. Makes sense since we have 2 out of 3 Brazilian players here. This roster, Team Electros, has our vote in the prediction wheels that they're going to take it.
It's been kind of a split decision, and this is one of the harder matches to call. Here's what I think. I mentioned that I think there are teams that belong here at LCQ. They're just outside of what's World Finals worthy, and then you have others that are on the come up. And I think Team Electros is very much one of those teams for which last year's qualifier is just a stepping stone to an eventual World Finals. The only caveat is that they're not here in full force with their original squad. Ducky's missed. From the beginning of the year, you've also got Diego Gamer filling in for Bilal, so it's going to be tough, but I think they just might be able to eke out a victory.
We're looking at the maps here. BC, of course, with the crowd rooting for them. We're filling up those seats like it's nothing. You can certainly also hear the crowd in the back. And Team Electros on the other side. 2 players that have never played at a LAN event. Diego Gamer would have had the chance, of course, with his previous roster Elevate at Brawl Cup. Unfortunately, he couldn't join due to visa issues. Now, though, he looks like he's not even that nervous. He's ready. And I read in an interview with SLB that he feels like Diego might even like the crowd. He might even use it to his advantage.
And I met his parents. They're lovely, lovely people. A very, very polite guy. And I just love to see someone like him who's just worked so hard and achieved so much this year get another chance to qualify for a second time for the World Finals. Let's be honest and not avoid the elephant in the room. I think as well, when you consider the fact that as Livy had to knock out his former teammates of Pioneers in that August monthly finals to earn enough points to solidify himself for the LCQ. There's so much story, so much backstory to this roster, and I just feel like they just are a team so deserving of a World Finals placement.
I think we couldn't have chosen this very first match to kick off the LCQ today better, because those teams both had some up and downs this year. Both of those teams have had some roster switches. People are joining the roster also mid-season because Doritos drops out on the side of BC Gaming. He has been a great addition as Livy as well, though, so I really couldn't tell you how this is going to go down. I do feel like Team Electros has the edge here, but it's, honestly, like a 51 to 49%.
A really, really close one for sure. Just on the note of Team Electros, how difficult it was for them to make here. It felt like they were fighting some supernatural forces just to make it to the stage because of so many setbacks over the course of the season. We've made mention numerous times of how, they're not here with the original squad, but, somehow the Brawl gods are at play. Diego Gamer eventually makes a land, though, in an untraditional way. There's so much at play here for Team Electros. I really, really am looking forward to seeing them play.
It's always nice anyway to have South versus North America. Who's going to be the true America, The players are getting ready. We're just waiting for them to be seated. Electro starts into this as 5th seed from NA, BC Gaming 3rd seed from SA, which would technically mean they take it, no? 3rd seed beats 5th.
It's so hard to tell when it comes down to being on the world stage, doesn't it? And how these regions are going to compare. I think one thing for me, for BC Gaming, was their key match versus Alpha 7 Esports in August, where they were just 3 points ahead of Casa Brawl at the time. So winning the match and securing it in the indirect fashion for Casa Brawl, I think that made a massive difference in sort of how that South American team prospect that the LCQ was going to take form. And in regards to that as well, Rabo who was playing for Alpha 7, has now joined BC Gaming as their coach. So I think that speaks volumes for this region and how close-knit it really is.
Well, I think there's definitely some unity around. We want to see our region do well on the international stage. And in previous years, of course, we have had to wave goodbye to some of those world spots for South America just because they haven't really shown up and done that well at the World Finals. So if it's got to be anyone, I'm looking at BC Gaming. They're top 4 in their region. I would honestly say aggressively top 4, unfortunately, because every single time they face Loud or SKC, with one exception in March, which was a weird one, they did manage to take a victory there. But besides that, they've always been top 4, haven't really managed to take down the front runners in their own region.
Teams are just discussing the draft. One thing that players have said time and time again this year is just how influential that draft really is. We're seeing across the board, across the regions, pro drafters really start dying. And I think that that is a real difference maker here. Star Dragon for me, on Toxic Lotus, for example, is a prime candidate to take that number 1 spot as far as drafts concerned. I think many reasons why Toxic Lotus have really been able to keep up with the heat across the regions and have been able to demonstrate and prove their worth at Brawl Cup. The question is now, how are teams that are maybe less than in that regard going to be able to fare against the very best? Because draft is what it all comes down to.
At least they have some time now to get ready for their very first match here live on stage. Some of the matches we heard are going to be played behind the scenes. We're going to see those teams later out here as well. But of course, for those two teams now, they can already experience the crowd, and it's quite full in here. So I hope they take some of this energy from the crowd also and put it into their fingers and make sure that they get a good draft done here and also play for their lives. At last, this is their very last shot at the World Final entrance.
It is very true. There's only one match that you can afford to lose, and it is here in the group stage. But if you go ahead and win this very first match, then you're through. You don't have to play a second match for the day. You can go ahead and start preparing for your winner bracket. And if you make it through there, then you've only got one match to prepare for that day. It is such a huge advantage to go ahead and win the first match in the group stage. It's undoubtedly what both teams are aiming for, not really willing to be taken down in this one, have maybe an easier match there in the lower part of the GSL bracket.
I hope our Sandman is really prepared for this because it's getting heated already in the crowd. You can see everyone coming out to show their support. It's just such a buzz here in the arena, and it makes an LCQ such a magical part of the Brawl Esports journey. For me, it's my favorite event of the year, so I'm really looking to see it all. Some upsets, some fantastic Brawl styles, no doubt about that. And unfortunately, we're going to be saying goodbye to some teams along the way, but for those that will be victorious, a World Finals golden ticket is what it's all about.
We're giving the players a couple more seconds to calm their nerves and to get ready for this first match, the kickoff for the LCQ. Gonna see you in a couple minutes.
Oh, this place gives me the creeps.
Nothing to fear if I'm here, milady.
Maybe we should have gone to the last one.
Trick or treat.
Well, what will it be then?
Trick.
Oh, I have boo-boo tricks for you. Say hello to my friends on the other side.
That's not good.
Oops.
Ih, lascou agora.
Lascou nada. Vai que dá. Calma aí. Já acompanho.
Mano, vocês são muito ruins, velho. Muito ruim.
Não fala assim, Lucão. E tu, Raíssa? O que tu já ganhou por acaso?
Nada. Não, gente, mas agora falando sério, a gente precisa de alguma coisa diferente.
Pera, Dani. E se tivesse um Brawler BR?
Ah, já sei. Tipo uma capivara fazendo brigadeiro.
Não.
Não. Um negócio mais com nosso jeitinho, nosso gingado, assim. Eu acho que a gente precisa de uma mina da hora.
E aí, Toquinha? Mete o play, olha.
back to the LCQ. I hope you took this chance to lock in your predictions. Head over to event.brawlstars.com if you haven't yet. Also grab some snacks and drinks. This first one is already going to be a banger.
It's going to be so exciting. We'll get to see what one of South America's top teams does versus a North American team that really only started to show up in the second half of the season and only barely scraped by to get here because, well, one of their companion teams was disqualified from the World Finals.
There you can see 79% in favor of BC Gaming, the home squad for this region. 21% for Electros. I think it's very skewed. I think that Electros are better towards a 55-45 in my opinion, but nonetheless, it's what we come to expect being in home turf.
The home squad definitely came through here for BC Gaming. Let's see if they can actually make this one. I also want to see if we do have Mina or Ollie open, at least at some point today. They're both banned out. And this one, Lumi's going to be the first pick. In pin-up hunt, you really just want mid-control. Maybe then, when you get a takedown, you can score.
Looking at some of these bans and look at the story that it tells. BC Gaming getting rid of some of those optimal first picks for Team Electros. You can see that Team Electros really actually wanted that Ollie because they went ahead and banned Buster. They pick up that Lumi because it's going to be a super solid mid. It makes it a pretty miserable matchup for anyone to play. She's going to throw down those maces and then let them sit there, right? Let the frozen areas simmer in case anyone marches forward. But here comes the Otis. This guy got a major buff recently.
It's coming to the meta massively spoken to the Bonnie, and being able to mute her out upon that landing is going to be quite influential here as well. I think Finks here could be a fantastic brawler idea too if Team Electros want to consider going with something along those lines. Kenji as well, very aggressive in that regard. Going to be a gas. That could be quite nicely actually combined with a Kenji as well. So I wonder, and it's going to be that very thing. I love that for Team Electros.
Super aggressive comp here for the side of Electros. They have some range with Gus and Lumi to take care of that mid-control. Kenji with a bubble from Gus will be able to just go ahead and make some space for his team. Now, BC Gaming, I would like to see something with a bit more range as well. Bonnie, of course, brings it, but she's also going to be a target, an easy one for Gus to farm super.
Looking at some of these matchups, I think like a Cordelius could sneak in here. Hank is going to be the way to go. Okay,
Not
so
range.
can shoot through those walls, which is really the important thing that I was thinking about over here. Play around some of those lanes. So we'll see what Hank is able to do here. Undoubtedly, if we go to overtime, then that super is going to be absolutely massive. Not only that, but if Kenji gets right on top of him, that is bad business. You don't want to get hit by every single one of those fish torpedoes.
It's a great time for that final pick as well. Cordelius is a brawler which has been really coming into the meta strong, and that Hank is now going to have a bit of a better time amongst things. I do love this Electros comp though. I think Lumi, especially being that first pick brawler, it's still in such a devastating place. We saw it so little of her at the World Cup, and I think it's going to be a brawler which could be that first pick now that Otis, Ronzo Mina are so strong in the meta.
Well, here comes the first push in from Team Electros. It's Rafiki to get in. Loco needs to be denied that super. Rafiki bounces off the wall. Is Livy and Diego Gamer with a wide open goal. And they'll run down this clock just a little bit too. You saw BC Gaming immediately implode as a composition here. Team Electros surrounded them and crunched them into their spawn.
Good fast about to start, but look at this, Derp stand out, and the aggression now shining through Team Electros. Got shield as well as Kenji's flight from Rafiki. I love him on these kind of brawls. A lovely dash for the ball, off the line by Loco. A mute just in the nick of time there for BC Gaming.
So close with goal there for Team Electros, but they've got all the positioning that they want. Really, the tempo is going to surround Win as Livy throws down these gadgets. He's got sort of the left lane now focused down, and Loco's gradually pushing forward. On the right side, Jubileo. Whoa, that super's baited. Rafiki has to abandon, though. On the left side, Diego Gamer receives that super. Dirt now pushing in as Livy's looking for the combo, and Rafiki helps out with that kill. It's 3v1 now. Jubileo is going to be staggered on the respawn. Diego Gamer's got plenty of shield, looking to walk it through, but once again, dead on the goal line.
That was a very important hypercharge there for Loco, but now done by Livy, and a perfect morning star there. Continued aggression from Rafiki, continuing to dash in hypercharge for Livy, but no super. Maybe he's one shot away, but he's not been able to earn it, so a little bit of a waste as Derp jumps in and punishes him for it.
Dirt's still alive. Rafiki's trying to change that hypercharge style onto Loco. That's one down. Now receiving the pass. Rafiki with the Hozumaki healing just in the nick of time to score the goal. And the first game goes to Team Electros.
Rafiki is so dangerous. You cannot turn your back on him. And he just kept going time and time again, and there's only so many times the BC Gaming could stop him in motion. They've got to have to really knuckle down this time to secure it, because again, he's just so slimy.
look also how those lane matchups have changed. We'll see that initial takedown for BC. Whoa, that's an early goal for BC Gaming. Jubileo knew exactly the lane matchup that he needed. No longer on Rafiki, and you can see Rafiki go over the right side. But it's just a prediction. BC Gaming also knew to play musical lanes here. Send Jubileo onto the left side for a much better lane matchup, and you'll see Rafiki rotate over there too.
And that was the goal to wake up the crowd for sure. As we thoroughly expected. And that's what BC Gaming need in this position. Being behind is not what you want to have in your first set. As Livy Low here, a jump in as well. He's been able to win around the Rosie here. The ball now with Loco. Can he get it forward to Jubilee? He needs to actually heal himself up a little bit here. Fat Splatter not going to connect with this Livy, who's low on 61 HP.
Here comes Rafiki on the right side, soaked up that first bubble from Jubileo, was attempting to push in, but why is the guy fighting a 1v2? He's way estranged from his team. It's not going to be a goal for BC just yet, but they're in the correct position. Jubileo's charging up a bubble. He's got the torpedoes to punish any sort of Kenji that might find himself over there. You can see Jubileo's rotating away, trying to get over to Guts. He's stunned, and now here comes the ice from Looney. It's just going to start to back things up. Rafiki also baited out here. Going to pop that super, attempted more damage from Loco, because that is his main enemy here. But still cannot get that kill down. Team Electros are not in control.
There's a hypercharge coming on here for Derb, but he needs to be able to earn back the super to be able to make use of it. A volley jump into the goal mouth would be devastating here for Team Electros, who have got to now play defense. Loco as well, having no mute, is going to be troublesome. He can't go as aggressive as he would like to on that Rafiki lane side. Jubileo there, just coming in, finds the connection down to Diego Gamer as well, pushing forward still. Derb coming in for support. This is the point where we're shooting to pass ball through, and it's straight to the hands of Jubileo, who scores it.
All tied up here in set number one. Team Electros have a real match. They surrounded and crushed BC Gaming in that very first game. BC knew exactly how to respond. They fire back with lane swaps. That is what they did the entire game. I call it musical lanes. You'll see Jubileo rotates over to the right. Not the greatest. Rafiki is over there. Rafiki's going to try and take advantage of this early game interaction, as Livy's also attempting to assist. But now Rafiki has to back away. He's one shot by the hang. As Livy's got the matchup, though. There's the stun. Double kill for his Livy. That's so much control for Team Electros.
And Derb is in the world of hurt there. Jumps in and wastes the massive super. There's 3 players for Electros pushing forwards now and healing along the way. Now BC Gaming's turn to play some defense, but a good response. Team Electros were not really in that last game. They've got to be much more aggressive this time round. Huge taps from his Livy there onto Jubileo as well, who's now in a really tough position. Jump in as well from Rafiki. It's not looking better, but no sign of a goal just yet. Can Rafiki slime his way through? Derb goes down the line, forces out the hypercharge for his Livy. They can't get the ball just yet. Oh! Again! These defenses for BC Gaming are just unreal!
Loco, you're an animal! What a defense from the guy! Now the ball is found back at mid with Team Electros team wiped. They're going to have to earn back control of this mid-ring of bushes. But his Livy has been on point with these supers and gadgets. He's got one on the left side already. Now attempting to defend the right side as well. Jubileo with a super that went absolutely nowhere, and Dirt falls as well. Jubileo now taken down. This ball's got to get daisy-chained all the way down the field. Not going to be enough time for Team Electros to generate a goal here, but they have pushed up this effective line of scrimmage to the BC Gaming side.
Great synergy there between his Livy and Diego Gamer to get that stun and the pickup from Diego. Wonderful stuff. You can see the communication now starting to really flow for Team Electros back in a very affirmative position. With the clock just coming down to about 50 seconds. They can get the goal here. They wouldn't be leaving much time for a response. Some great ice on the field now as well. Forcing the hand of BC Gaming into a corner. Great taps. Diego Gamer in a fantastic flank spot on that right-hand side. And continued aggression from the Cookie Popper Gadget. Hypercharge now as well. And this should be the goal for Team Electros. Going to buy down the clock, as you absolutely should. Leaving just 30 seconds for that response.
Looking at the utility for both sides, it's only Jubileo with the super. Rafiki has one to respond. He's going to try and isolate Loco by the looks of things already. Gets that shield from Diego Gamer. Now in with the hypercharges, Livy looks for one. Jump away from Dirk. Rafiki intercepts the ball. Pass to the back left. Jubileo has to retreat. There's not enough time. Loco's got to heal up and gain positioning. It's going to be their third responding. Double kill for his Livy. Not a chance in the world of BC Gaming coming back here. Rafiki pops the hyper just to put some extra hurt on him for the final goal. And Team Electros, this team was split apart at so many different times, prevented from coming here, have already kicked things off with a set victory.
And that set was earned with some serious style points between the end as well. And going into the next set, that's what you want to have on the side of Team Electros. They didn't need a second goal, but they still played for it as if they were on a tied ball game. Look at the stats now coming through as well. A great game for all three members of Team Electros. 9, 10, and 11 takedowns for Diego Gamer there as well. 385 DPS for Livy, and the goals say it all. A fantastic opening set, and one that can often start the momentum that you desperately need on the world stage.
Want to point out a few things here. You see BC Gaming, that Otis pickup. There is a reason he is so good. He has that stopping power to prevent some of that stuff that Team Electros was going for. And you saw a lot of times, he was the last link in the chain. My gosh, the clutch defense from Loco in game number 2 was absolutely staggering. You saw Rafiki barely stay alive there with his gadget. The mechanics have been on point. We had doubts about the synergy. It's only step 1, but I'm beginning to believe.
I feel like there's definitely some fuel in the tank though for BC Gaming. They've got the crowd on their side, and these defenses were just impeccable. I mean, look at
down that left-hand side.
On stage, some of them.
Attempting to defend the right side as well as you. Unban. We wouldn't want to. Oh, World Finals 20.
oh sorry, rather, you know, what was it? Little
round win as Livy throws.
Very important hypercharge there for Logan, but now stunned by Livy, and having your first set as Livy low here.
That super attempted more damage from BC knew exactly how to respond. They
Forward still, Derp coming in for support. But Derp, he needs to be able to earn back his super. Troublesome. He can't go as a grip.
all tied up here in set number 1. Team Electros have a real match. They surrounded and crushed BC Gaming in that very first game. BC knew exactly how to respond. They fire back with lane swaps. That is what they did the entire game. I call it musical lanes. You'll see Julia rotates over to the right. Not the greatest. Rafiki is over there. Rafiki's going to try and take advantage of this early game interaction as Livy's also attempting to assist. But now Rafiki has to back away. He's one shot by the Hank. As Livy's got the matchup, though. There's the stun. Double kill for his Livy. That's so much control for Team Electros.
And Derp is in the world of hurt there, jumps in and wastes a massive super. There's 3 players for Electros pushing forwards now and healing along the way. It's now BC Gaming's turn to play some defense, but a good response. Team Electros were not really in that last game. They've got to be much more aggressive this time round. Huge taps from his Livy there onto Julia as well, who's now in a really tough position. Jump in as well from Rafiki. It's not looking better, but no sign of a goal just yet. Can Rafiki slime his way through? Derp goes down the line, forces out the hypercharge for his Livy. They can't get the ball just yet. Oh! Again! These defenses for BC Gaming are just unreal!
Loco, you're an animal! What a defense from the guy! Now the ball is found back at mid with Team Electros team wiped. They're going to have to earn back control of this mid ring of bushes. But as Livy has been on point with these supers and gadgets. He's got one on the left side already. Now attempting to defend the right side as well. Jubileo with a super that went absolutely nowhere, and Dirt falls as well. Jubileo now taken down. This ball's got to get Daisy chained all the way down the field. Not going to be enough time for Team Electros to generate a goal here, but they have pushed up this effective line of scrimmage to the BC Gaming side.
Great synergy there between his Livy and Diego Gamer to get that stun and the pickup from Diego. Wonderful stuff. You can see the communication now starting to really flow for Team Electros back in a very affirmative position. The clock just coming down to about 50 seconds. They can get the goal here. here. They wouldn't be leaving much time for a response. Some great ice on the field now as well, forcing the hand of BC Gaming into a corner. Great taps. Diego gave it a fantastic flank spot on that right-hand side, and continued aggression from the Cookie Popper Gadget. Hypercharge now as well, and this should be the goal for Team Electros. Going to buy down the clock, as you absolutely should, leaving just 30 seconds for that response.
Looking at the utility for both sides, it's only Jubileo with the super. Rafiki has one to respond. He's going to try and isolate Loco by the looks of things already. Gets that shield from Diego Gamer. Now in with the hypercharges, Livy looks for one. Jump away from Dirt. Rafiki intercepts the ball. Pass to the back left. Jubileo has to retreat. There's not enough time. Loco's got to heal up and gain positioning. It's going to be their third responding. Double kill for his Livy. Not a chance in the world of BC Gaming coming back here. Rafiki pops the hyper just to put some extra hurt on him for the final goal. And Team Electros, this team was split apart at so many different times, prevented from coming here, have already kicked things off with a set victory.
And that set was earned with some serious style points between the end as well. And going into the next set, that's what you want to have on the side of Team Electros. They didn't need a second goal. They still played for it as if they were on a tied ball game. Look at the stats now coming through as well. A great game for all three members of Team Electros. 9, 10, and 11 takedowns for Diego Game there as well. 385 DPS for his Livy, and the goals say it all. A fantastic opening set, and one that can often start the momentum that you desperately need on the world stage.
Want to point out a few things here. You see BC Gaming, that Otis pickup. There is a reason he is so good. He has that stopping power to prevent some of that stuff that Team Electros was going for. And you saw a lot of times, it was the last link of the chain. My gosh, the clutch defense from Loco in game number 2 was absolutely staggering. You saw Rafiki barely stay alive there with his gadget. The mechanics have been on point. We had doubts about the synergy. It's only set 1, but I'm beginning to believe.
I feel like there is definitely some fuel in the tank though for BC Gaming. They've got the crowd on their side, and these defenses were just impeccable. I mean, look at that. Unreal. Really, really fantastic gameplay. And that just goes to show how troublesome that first set was in regards to just how well Team Electros were playing. But if BC Gaming can leave that first set behind, take the benefits and the positivity from it, but I think that there's still plenty of sets which could go the other way. It's just a very tough way to start things off for BC Gaming. They're going to have to very much reset mentally here.
I'll tell you what, though, they got a game victory. That means that they do have a horse in this race. They weren't completely, taken down in that draft phase. They still can do it. We're going to be moving to Ring of Fire for set number 2. This is going to bring a different dynamic from what Brawl Ball had to offer. Brawl Ball was all about movement. Ring of Fire, it's all about control. But in many cases, those movement brawlers do have their home in getting inside some of those bushes on the enemy side. And Arak, we were talking about this in the green room before the show. You mentioned that South America loves their movement brawlers.
They've just gravitated time and time again towards brawls like Stew, and again, Maine is that very same idea. Another reason why I feel like they're going to want it, but I don't think that anyone is going to let them get their hands on it. That's the difference. And I think that, when we see things continue towards the later part of the day, it's that kind of troublesome brawler that might not be the best brawler everywhere, but teams don't necessarily want to take the risk.
Every single set. I'm going to get sick of it eventually, but I'm going to be watching to see if Mina is finally left unbanned. We wouldn't want to have a World Finals 2023 situation where Charlie was banned every single time. But Team Electros, go ahead and get rid of it. You see they've got that second pick. That's the indicator. You never want to let your enemy have it as the first selection. Note also some of the other things. Colonel Ruff's banned by BC Gaming. Colonel Ruff's is so good as a 2-3 pick because you can go ahead and pair it with something like Ollie, for example, which is just awesome, even in a long-range map. Because now Colonel Ruff's is even better. He can get good lane matchups on this map. We'll see Crow as a first selection. You brought this up as one of the top picks right now. It's going to be great for just getting some general control around mid.
And a very LATAM brawler pick as well. It's been one of those which they would champion even when it wasn't meta. So I like the idea of it. To slow the poison, especially with the amount of push on this map, makes some sense. Team Electros, some big heavy hits out of the way, but like an Ollie on this map, I think it wouldn't be the worst of ideas to consider it heavily. The hypercharge is absolutely devastating. Body going to come in for their first brawler pick, and certainly one that's got just so much more agile now since the rework. It is pretty much in many of the maps and modes a first pick worthy brawler, so I've got absolutely no quarrels with that whatsoever. But I want to see some aggression, some up close and personal brawlers coming in for Team Electros. Because Rafiki, he is that guy, and Ash, something like a Buster would be great as well here. I feel. That would be, what I would be thinking.
Yeah, Buster, and I think especially as the last pick, just in case BC Gaming go ahead and go for that Ollie, don't want that snatched away from them. Byron is now here to play. This guy is a mainstay in the meta. We talk about like what's meta right now, and guess what? Like 2 years we've been in a hypercharge meta. This guy's got a hypercharge recently. It's absolutely nutty, and he can also heal like teammates with it. I think people keep forgetting that because it's just used to insta nuke other people.
That really speaks volumes as to what you were saying about saving that kind of tanky brawler for that third and final pick. And by doing that now and the second pick Byron, I think that BC Gaming have really got to batten down the hatches with a big tank counter here. I mean, B wouldn't be the worst idea, going to go for the Kaze as well. I like that brawler pick for them. That's going to allow a lot of flexibility to just really go for that jugular in those bushy areas of the map and just flank around. Not really necessarily worry about the depth, but just ensure you get at least a trade. Coming in now with a third and final pick for BC Gaming.
Kaze, she's all about pressure and assassination. And guess what? I see something that's, well, one of the major vulnerabilities for Byron. He doesn't have any sort of CC, no way to blast things away. So are we really concerned about hitting him in super? Not that much. He's going to get it anyway. It's all about taking down that Byron. That's the lifeblood of the team. Byron's going to be played in a way that supports another brawler. I don't think there's really time for them to about face and go for something different here. They're going to go ahead and be facing a Gus here. BC Gaming know what's up. It's all about the synergy for these guys. And a good solid mid. They're going to stack a couple guys at mid by the looks of things.
Could they go Meg maybe here? I think the Gus is maybe a bit of a deterrent of that very idea, but I like the idea of this Byron. It gives them some flexibility. Buster, yeah, I said at the very beginning, I feel like that brawler is often forgotten. And certainly in modes like Hot Zone, having that shield, having the ability to deflect, and when you can see the big picture, looking on the other side of the field, there is no thrower. They are the biggest deterrent of a Buster, and they have the time to consider that tank wisely. It's very dangerous what Team Electros have cooked up here.
Yeah, I also look at like Team Electros' bans. I mentioned him already, but Ollie left completely open here. Rafiki is an excellent buster. In fact, I think every member of this team can go ahead and play a buster. But they didn't really mind facing an Ollie here. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. They didn't leave Colonel Ruff's banned on their side. BC Gaming went ahead and did that for them. Let's get into it. It's set number 2 here between BC Gaming and Team Electros. Team Electros already up by 1 set. BC Gaming not going to go down so early. They're here with a renewed fire after that first one.
Already, first shield goes out. Jubilee on that right-hand side will fall. And again, all 3 members of Team Electros playing together as a unit. This is why the Buster pick is going to work so fantastically well. They're just all clustered on that mid, playing the objective. Despite the fanstorm here, they're still going to be very much protected by Rafiki.
And Rafiki, look, he's gotten the hypercharge pretty much for free by staying close to his teammates. Going to look to take down Jubilee, who intelligently uses that super to get away. As Livy solos Jerk, who gets his super on the next hit and blasts him away. But Team Electros still have this aggression. They have the positioning on the point. They are fighting a 1v2. Diego Gamer's trying to get that takedown, and Loco will be successful now. The hypercharge. That's healing, and that's damage, but he's just going to use it for healing. It is a classic Byron and tank strat, and it's working so well for Team Electros as they play as pretty much a big blob.
Nice takedown there of Diego Gamer for Loco, getting behind the swing of action as Libby's surviving on there. Just gets the kill as well. Now shielded, unbelievable synergy here for Team Electros, and surely a team-wide ban it is. It's the way that Byron has come back into the meta since the hypercharge edition. It really is now a force to be contended with, and they haven't got the DPS on the side of BC Gaming.
Loco almost made a major play there, decided to stand idle, but look at that. A team wipe for BC Gaming. Team Electros, they're just on the cusp of victory. Team wipe for BC Gaming. Team Electros, they're just on the cusp of victory. But BC Gaming now have the positioning. Does have Jubilee in a really troublesome position. Jarvis going to have to help him out. He's going to have to use that super and hypercharge at the same time. He'll pop it onto Loco. Going to end up going onto seemingly no one. Here comes Rafiki to be taken down, and Jerp and Loco remain on this point.
This is a really commendable comeback. And BC Gaming have done one
on this point.
This is a really commendable comeback. And BC Gaming have done wondrously well to get it this far, but will Team Electros shut this down? They're going to make a good play for it, but Diego Gamer is low. Loco jumps in, it's just Rafiki, and BC Gaming have brought this one back. Just 4% left to go, and they've got
out of mainland China here that really serves Chapter of Happiness well. You can see how much Upcore need to do to
9% in favor of BC Gaming. The homes.
Rafiki rotate over.
absolutely devastating. Body going to come in for their first call.
And it works. I mean, BC game.
That is the Brazilian experience in a nutshell, isn't it? Just not really being deterred by the situation. Always going in there with a smile on your face and giving you all. But now, Team Electros 25% on the zone, and now being a little bit more cautious. But now, Team Electros 25% on the zone, and now being a little bit more cautious this time. But now, Team Electros 25% on the zone, and now being a little bit more. But now, Team Electros 25% on the zone, and now being a little bit more. But now, Team Electros 25% on the zone, and now. Hyper shot for him. Can he find the? Hyper shot for him. Hyper shot for him.
With a double kill, stayed alive by only 100 HP, dodging the shots from Diego Gamer to cement himself in this back left corner and keeping just the right distance from Rafiki. He has been such a playmaker during this set, and now he's pulling off the same move that sent BC Gaming to a victory in Game 1.
The crowd really is behind BC Gaming now. Rafiki making a big push for the mid. A nice promo replay as well. Julia will fall, and leaving two of his teammates behind who are going to have to be forced away from the mid. Now Team Electros climbing things back to 60%. The hyper charge for Loco, and it could be absolutely devastating, and it is! Oh my word! Surely no see why Rafiki's low is going to have to come back to 158 HP. And Team Electros is going to push back into this now.
Oh my gosh, Rafiki would have rather died there so he could at least respawn on full HP, but he's not going to be offered that luxury. As Livy, yet again with a hypercharge in, just trying to get this HP and a little bit of damage, but those catapults have been completely off the mark for this entire set. Dirk staying alive, now up to 90%. BC Gaming have this one in the pocket. Team Electro sending whatever they've got at this. Rafiki going to be hit by that damage from Kaze, and Dirk's got the survivability. BC Gaming fire back.
The crowd erupting for their home squad. And what a commendable comeback each and every step of the way. That Brazilian fire really coming through and showing perseverance. 10 for Loco, 451 TPS for Derp. He really did give a great matchup to his Livy. His Livy missed that shot towards the end as well, which is quite devastating. There may have been an open door for Team Electros, but BC Gaming really showing their worth in this set.
I don't think Team Electros, whether they really identify it, because I watched the same thing happen twice. You see Crow jump in, they're all stuck together. Hypercharge from Crow is going to pierce everyone in that radius. It was their undoing 2 times in a row. And in game number 1, I watched Rafiki get baited for that shield, and then just like clockwork, Crow was on the case, dealing damage to the entire enemy team with a hypercharge. Hats off, I gotta say it to Crow. Loco, a maniac for his performance here.
What a great match to start the day. Just how closely matched both sides really are here. It's anyone for the taking. Team Electros a fantastic start. But BC Gaming fighting back under pressure is what you love to see. And now going into this third set, it's going to be Hideout. It's anyone's for the taking.
As we get ready for Hideout, I want to remark on one of my major criticisms of BC is that, you know, honestly, throughout all the monthly finals I watched them in, they were good, but they never really blew me away. They never really struck me as a team that's making it out of the last chance qualifier, that has something special here. But after what we just witnessed in that set number 2, I'm beginning to believe, not entirely convinced BC Gaming, but I got an inkling of an idea. They've got what it takes.
This does really need to be a Team Electros set for me. I think with the crowd so heavily behind BC Gaming here, they cannot really afford to drop another set. Maybe it's okay to go to the 55th set. No one really wants to be in that position, but under the circumstances, I think they've settled for it. But this has got to really be one for them. Otherwise, turning things around to take it there themselves, it's going to be a really tough ask.
Very much is. There's a lot of different stuff that you can play here as well. Some brawlers that are not usually too highly ranked can rear their ugly heads over here. You know who's not appearing? Mina. Will she ever, is really the question. You can see BC Gaming have gone ahead and given this ollie to Team Electros. Team Electros banned out that Byron, but Colonel Ruffs is wide open. Let's talk about Colonel Ruffs. What makes him so good? Well, first of all, we're in a hypercharge meta. It's all about getting that hypercharge to those busted brawlers so they can have that without having to earn it. Second of all, now he's got additional projectile speed in the last patch. It means he's going to be able to fight those long-range interactions way better. As long as BC Gaming never give a good roughs lane, then it's completely off the table for Team Electros.
I'm going to come in for BC Gaming now. And I feel as well that Team Electros are going to have some heavy heals behind Ollie to be able to advance forward in this map. They banned the Byron themselves, so certainly Gray and Byron are some solid bans. Gray is definitely going to open up the potential door to a thrower here, but Jaeyoung for BC Gaming paired in with something of maybe a sharpshooter would go a good long way here for me. Let's see how they kind of feel about the situation themselves. Angelo, that's a great sharpshooter.
It is, and you know what? I saw some cheese with Angelo. I saw Kit Angelo, something that we haven't seen in the bans just yet. I think it's, you know, a pretty intimidating one. It's not a noob killer. Well, it is a noob killer. A lot of things can kill noobs. But Kit, in general, in competitive, is a very feared thing. It takes an expert team to not go ahead and use one of their bans on that. But it is fully on the table as a last selection. It is especially dangerous. If you look at counters for that, I personally think of something like RT, but to go ahead with something, you know, that's not that remarkable and preemptively would be a big risk. Here comes Gene. That's going to be some synergistic plays, sitting around some of those teammates, giving them healing, also looking for pulls. Anyone hanging out of position, really only Jaeyoung can do that. And I think also just like looking at what we've seen so far from these teams, I'm still anticipating who's going to get that blue star first. By the looks of things, it'll be Derp right now. He'll speed himself towards it.
I feel like maybe Team Electros would have liked to have had Jaeyoung synergy with that Ollie pick. Bell going to come in. So settling then for the healing of just the Gene. It could place Ollie in a bit of a tough position here. I think maybe some aggressiveness from Team Electros, maybe some dex before having that hypercharge might be on their playing card. And in Bounty, that's a really tough game mode to do just that. You know, you're going to be giving over stars continuously and losing the objective in the process and just banking on that big turnaround towards the end. So BC Gaming with Charlie is a direct shutdown there of the Ollie. I feel like BC Gaming got a fantastic comp. The only weakness for me really is that slow reload speed of the Angelo. They've got the maneuverability and the versatility of having that Jaeyoung in the mix, the defensiveness of that Charlie into what is a really quite a brutal brawler in the meta right now with the Ollie. But the Bell is a safe pair of hands. It's going to definitely enforce the idea that BC Gaming cannot cluster together. So I like both sides. The Ollie is going to be dependent upon how much they can weave around this Charlie.
Charlie is, you know, an Ollie counter, but really the only big thing that counters the Ollie is going to, of course, be Buster, which is totally absent from this draft, both in picks and in bans. And as you can see, Jubileo is going to get that blue star. Dirk could have gotten it, but Jubileo gets it. He's a much safer brawler. He's able to jump away. Team Electros now, as anticipated, will have to play offense for the majority of the game by the looks of things. And you'll see Rafiki trying to stay away from that Charlie, just looking for any supercharge if he can get it. He's going to have to earn it the old-fashioned way. You know, no roughs to support him in that regard. But still, won't really be able to jump on Loco. Actually, Loco's running spiders, weirdly enough. That actually makes him a way better target for Ollie to go ahead and jump in on.
True, but it also means that Gene's going to have a tougher time landing his shots as well. So there's a bit of a give and take, isn't it? Rafiki really trying his best to push himself forward here. But these taps from Jubilee really are very strong, forcing out the gadget previously as well to jump away from the situation. Now Diego Gamer has got the ball. Very patient, but then a big miss. Maybe should have gone for that a bit sooner. But nonetheless, Team Electros will stay in position. Rafiki now pushing forwards with Super. Will find the hypnosis down to Loco, and that's got to be a takedown, surely.
There it is, but now he's got to be evacuated on the right side. Here comes search and rescue. Diego Gamer with that healing radius to get him in the safe area. Rafiki, off of that interaction, has also gotten a super of his own.
Now, BC Gaming pushing forward and looking to find that connection. Left-hand side is where they're all clustered, which might give a lot of advantage for us. Liddy here to land these battle shots. There is just the one star that separates these two teams. So if BC Gaming can time this right, just get that final. Since they find a kill, and another missed magic hand by Diego Gamer. They can't keep doing that.
Not at all. He barely got any time to abort here. Just 10 seconds remaining. Rafiki's going to go for his solo on the Turtle. Where's his support? Here comes Diego Gamer on the right side for the kill. Jubileo also in a dangerous position. Doesn't have the DPS to get rid of Rafiki. And here comes Diego Gamer with the hypercharge just to keep it safe. That final aggressive push in from BC Gaming falls flat on its face, because that's not what this comp is designed to do. They are purely defensive. when Ollie's able to go in aggressively and be retrieved by his teammates in the same go, that is the win condition for Team Electros.
Soon as Team Electros had that first sign of a kill, they did a very good job of staying firm with it. They've given up the blue star yet again. Going to allow BC Gaming that at least. Rafiki and his Libby double starting this right hand side lane. Loco's so low here. He might go down, he does. And Rafiki's not done yet. He's going to go in. Oh, Wicked Warrior comes in clutch for Derp. What a great time for that gadget to come through.
Yeah, miscounted the shots from Derp. If you're going in there as Ollie did, you have to have that interaction calculated. Derp had ammo that he simply wasn't anticipating. It's now a firm advantage for BC Gaming with their 5 stars against just 2 from Team Electros. Here come the spiders on the right side. Loco knows exactly the matchup to go for with these spiders. He's also got to stay clear of Rafiki, especially when he doesn't have that super. Rafiki now circling through has a super and the gadget ready to be used. It'd be useful to have some support from Bell for the next push in. Team Electros are just looking and isolating some point of weakness.
BC Gaming are doing a very good job of just depriving Rafiki of that hypercharge as well, because it takes a while to obtain the Ollie. So good stuff from their side of things and keeping his lead. 3 stars now. Derp so low though, and now comes Rafiki in, and Derp will go down. Oh, the cocoon is there, but in the meanwhile, Rafiki gets the double regardless, and it should be an escape here. Maybe he's pushed back. No, it's still 11 stars for BC Gaming, and another push required for Team Electros.
If they get Jubileu, then they will be able to get this one back and win by a tiebreaker. That is a key kill for them, but they got 30 seconds left. It's still enough time to get a couple of kills, especially versus Derp. They could snag him. Loco, not an optimal matchup. Rafiki's circling around so he doesn't use those spiders. Go ahead and take down Loco. That's the emergency. Now Loco pops his super just in the nick of time. Now they got to get Diego Gamer out of here. That's a pull ready for him. Derp, the optimal target for a pull. They'll both get away. Rafiki can dash, but he's going to go ahead and soak up some damage for now. Hypercharge style in. Pull him back. A takedown on Loco. 5 seconds to go. Derp knows that it's done and dusted with the seconds counting down. Team Electros 2-0 style here in set number 3. Taken down in set number 2, but they're right back up like they were never defeated.
Absolutely unreal. And that was the spark that Team Electros needed. You can see it on stage, really just giving them that boost of which they really did need. Such an exciting set. Unbelievable stuff. Rafiki again. Got to give that man a massive hand. Speaking of hands, the game have already hit any of his, and that's the 0 above his head. Does need to come into the next set showing a bit more of his worth. But I'm so impressed by Rafiki. You know, a player which is really on the rise, a player that hasn't had the most LAN experience, but boy, oh boy, is he coming out strong today. And I love that. I love that about Brawl Esports, when we have those players that come in and prove their worth. They don't get nervous by the crowd. They put it all aside, and they just focus on the job at hand.
Every single member of this Team Electro squad is just brilliant. You see Rafiki making the plays, and, you know, he's the aggressive player. He's the tank player for this squad. A lot of teams have actually struggled with that in the past. How do I enable my player that's really the best at tanks? And I think Diego Gamer has been an excellent lane support. He's so stable. And then you have his Livy, just a phenomenal drafter, and holding his own lane in the same time. We'll see Rafiki and Diego Gamer, this pairing on the right side. Interesting considering that Diego Gamer is the newest addition to the team, and seeing them play together on lane, I think once more quells the doubts that Diego Gamer, is he really going to fit in on this team?
It's what we were discussing coming into the show, wasn't it? It was about have they had the time on the side of Team Electros to really solidify that unity. And that could have just been an offset for him. Just given the chance to show a better. Maybe G's not the best of brawlers for him, but really in this meta, where Team Electros are thriving is with the up-close and personal brawlers. And that's where BC Gaming need to put a stop to this. They've got to be able to really focus much more attention in the out-drafting Rafiki specifically.
It's very, very true. You know what? If it just comes down to Diego Gamer, you don't see a lot of what's happening on screen. This guy never died, right? He provided that healing to Rafiki. The supers, okay, he missed both of them. I'm not going to make too many excuses for him there. But the pressure, they had to get enemies into the corner somehow. Let's get into draft for set number 4. Team Electros on the cusp of victory, just 1 set away. But BC Gaming have proven that they are ready to step to Team Electros and could very well push us to a set 5.
Bam on both sides, the kit, the Kaze, the Cordelius, which I think will show a lot more later today. It's definitely one of the biggest brawlers currently in the meta. Pit stop is a very tough map to be able to deal with the defense. It really is. It's very much about offense. I think Shade here, not being banned, is quite key. Yeah, first pick has got to have been there for Team Electros. We saw time and time again in East Asia how influential that brawler was on this very map. I think BB actually deserves a bit of a shout out now in a much better placement to rework too. I wonder if that could be on the cards for BC Gaming.
Yes, BC Gaming, give us a South American special and show us why actually BB is a pretty formidable opponent here. She's just made of health, speed, movement, and damage once she's on top of that safe. She is a force to reckon with. Could also step to that shade, but can't hit through walls, which is the primary risk. RT, is BC Gaming going to go for a Miko? There's only one real reason why you play RT here. Okay, Barry. Interesting. Are they planning a Miko? Are they trying to bait Team Electros into going anti-Miko just to pull out at the last second?
They might just be going super hard in on defense as well. They could be even maybe thinking Jackie potentially here as a shade combo. It could be. It's not my flavor. I think it's a tough time in this series to be able to do this kind of strategy, but maybe I've seen as well all year long, sort of South America, they're not afraid to leave the RT on the safe or bring it forwards as well. So that instant ability to come back to defense, I think makes RT quite relevant as well. Marking safe, I'm not sure if that's still a situation which may occur, but let's see as Carl comes in for Team Electros. I mean, it's definitely with the final hook a brawl that can get behind the field of action. I don't necessarily mind it. On the safe, of course, you can really rebound that pickaxe between the wall, get that ultimate damage in, and just keep that pressure on in that regard. The third final pick coming in.
Okay, when you pair up with this Carl, of course, have to mind some of the Carl counters. You see Buzz here every now and then. Pretty much the most difficult thing for Carl to deal with. Draco, they're just going to go for a Draco who's not really supported by anything. But, on pit stop, you can get away with it because you're going to be dealing additional damage to the enemy side on that safe using the correct star power. Now here comes Loco with the bull. I honestly really like this for BC Gaming. Okay, I see a lot of defensive abilities here. I'm a little bit concerned about that RT because he's pretty much hard locked on defense. He will have a hypercharge, at least once during a game to utilize. That'll be able to hit through walls versus Shade, who probably can't escape from it. So I'm seeing the vision here. You mentioned Jackie as a way to deal with the Shade, and yeah, he basically becomes two Jackies. One mobile, one that he's able to move around. Maybe I'm seeing some similarities there.
It's hard to decide which comp I'm favouring, honestly. You've got so much defensiveness here for BC Gaming, but they've got to find a way to balance that with offense. Brawl, the rework is one of my favourite brawlers to play, and the only caveat there is the indestructible walls. You can't go straight through the middle anymore, so we'll be paying attention to how Loki deals with that. It does seal it against the Beaky there at a very important time to do so, but it does leave his Livy on the stake.
Oh man, okay, so as Livy decided to go ahead and bait that super from Dirk. Dirk now pushing forward in sort of the Jackie form. You see Loco on top of that safe, dropping down the first shield, and Jubileu has the ice cream in position, using the correct gadget to get additional damage. Rafiki now with the super forward will get the defense and now pushes along the right side. The Gamer looking for an optimal lane matchup versus Loco. Is Liddy taken down? Loco's this one-man army on the right side, and Rafiki eliminated at the BC Gaming safe, only having taken off 13%.
Oh, what a hypercharge from Dub! Absolutely blowing his Livy to smithereens. Unbelievable from him to keep that defense alive. Dub is doing wonderfully well. Diga's going to come back in again now, try and get something done with Rafiki, but the time is really dwindling. They've got 2 stages down on the safe, and with the berry there, that ice cream is going to whisk it down so quickly. Now they're almost down to the 1 stage left, as Team Electros are bang in trouble.
Not looking good for Team Electros. They're almost down to that final shield. Here comes Loco around the left side. Such an awesome matchup for him into his Livy. And now the hypercharge from Rafiki. Looking for 1, now for 2. Onto Barry on the top right. Diego Gamer also attempting to play defense versus Loco. Even had the hypercharge, but Loco is him when it comes to these dashes. Is Livy trying to tank some of these shots and look at the defense. It's down to just 2%. Dirk knows that he can get this already. Hypercharge forward, and no connection. Diego Gamer still attempting to defend, but it's a fruitless effort. Jubileu has that last tick of damage. Is BC Gaming taking us to a step 5?
I think if you ask the crowd, yeah, they're taking the whole thing. Unreal though. I mean, Dirk on those defenses, it was actually Diego Gaming he took down on the Shade, but it was such an immediate response. Every time he was able just to continuously lock down his opposition and go on the aggressive towards the end as well. I think that was, again, something that South America are quite keen to do, get that balance. But I think Electric is shaken a little bit by this. It's not quite going their way. Let's see now, a big advance on his left-hand side now, utilising the ice cream of that berry. for Loco to be able to advance forward and try to get onto the stage. Rafiki playing this break on defense now. The flames coming in and of course out the heel of the berry gadget too. These flames are not really tickling BC Gaming because these heals are just too strong.
They're on point, and Loco's able to break down these walls. Whenever Shade is in an open area, it is a massive risk. You have to wonder whether Team Electros felt like it's too dangerous to leave this open. It's not going to play well, but we just have to go for it. Well, Diego Gamer's looking for a little kill here on the Loco. That's going to be sort of an attempt from Jubileo to keep him alive, but it does not come true. Now Diego Gamer, finally, some damage on that enemy side. Derp attempting to get in range also, but now the hypercharge round from his Livy is going to be the priority. Derp now in with a super, totally fruitless. Diego Gamer now with a hypercharge ready to move. The base race is in full swing, but it's looking good for Team Electros.
Damage rains in, and that is enough for Team Electros to be able to equalize this set. So a match point for them. That is huge. I don't know whether they feel less convinced by this comp, but that was a much better way to approach the set. They can just get one more in the bag and deprive this fifth and final set occurrence. Because if it's there, I feel like the crowd is going to ignite BC Gaming. It's so tough. This has got to be the place to deal that final nail in the coffin.
Match point, and Team Electros had figured out how to play into this BC Gaming strategy. That's how they took it down in game number 2. They knew that they had to play as pretty much a big blob. They're looking for those early game interactions to go ahead and get some supers of their own. Is Livy now pushing forward? This is actually looking really close to game number 1. In fact, this exact thing happened on the left lane in game number 1. But Rafiki unusually has stuck around the right side, and he's going to be dodging these shots from Dirt. Meanwhile, on the home front for Team Electros, it's a lot of damage coming in. Now, past that 75% mark, and the first shield is faded out.
Good start here for Team Electros. Rafiki now healing up. Diego Gamer coming in now with the hypercharge as well. Huge taps to the BC Gaming stage. 2 stages down. This Livy on the right-hand side now. It's going to place Derp in a very tough spot. Hot coals on the safe as well. And another stage potentially about to fall as they keep these taps going up. Diego Gamer comes in, forces out the hypercharge there of Derp. And the safe is really in trouble on both sides. They've left Loco on the top side as well. It's neck and neck.
Hardly a tempo lead. Team Electros have got that shield. It's still that next push in for BC Gaming is going to be interrupted by some timing. Diego Gamer now looking for additional damage as Livy trying to bait out a super from Loco, who's absolutely going to get it, whether by taking damage or by dealing damage. But Team Electros are playing so safe around this. As Livy now in from the right side, that pickaxe swinging. Rafiki now super as well. Jubileo attempts for the takedown. Rafiki eliminated and Loco ready for the defense, but Diego Gamer is smacking this through the safe as Livy just needs a couple more shots. Diego Gamer for the final shot. Team Electros, this ragtag band of brawlers, barely making it here to the last chance qualifier, have proven that they deserve to be in the winner's bracket.
A shot to the heart of this home region as North America kick things up strong and dampen out the cheers. Well, what a battle, what a fight. BC Gaming had it all. This was a match which thoroughly deserved to go to the fifth and final set, but Team Electros knew they could not afford to do it, because that could have been a very different story if it had gone the distance.
Silence here in Sao Paulo. You heard how loud that crowd was during the victory from BC Gaming, and when they nearly brought us to a set number 5, the hometown heroes are going to have to make some magic happen in their second match in the group stage, where they'll be facing the other losing team here in the opening matches. Looking at the stats, so you
We're on them, honestly. Coming in here as third through the championship in China. And just to put that out there, I thought that was a super funny stat. They played 28 sets of scrims in the last few weeks when they were here. On the other side, we have played Totem with the most scrims of all of them, with 456 sets played.
And this is the difference, isn't it, really, when you look at things. The experience behind Reply Totem, you've got just Maru and Maori going through since 2021 as a duo in the World Finals, and this is the first event for Chapter of Happiness in the international stage. That's the big reservation for me, is like, have Chapter of Happiness done what Toxic Lotus have proven to do, which is keep up with the rest of the world. We haven't.
How it's gonna go, just focusing on scrims though, it's probably gonna be Totem. Let's bring the teams in. Let's welcome them to the stage.
In one side we have two teams. In one side we have Masters of Control. When Totem locks in, it's game over. The other side, a new chapter built on passion and teamwork. Make some noise and welcome on stage Totem Esports and Chapter of Happiness!
Reply Totem versus Chapter of Happiness, EMEA versus China. As you mentioned before, we have Toxic Lotus that absolutely popped off at World Cup. Can Chapter of Happiness surprises just as much?
Plenty of surprises here. I think I'm expecting to get surprised in the middle of the match as well by Chapter of Happiness, considering that we have so little to go by in terms of scrims. I mean, they popped up only in the second half of the season in mainland China. They're a total unknown. Yuqiang 10K years in Valentine. Meanwhile, across the road, it could not be any more different. Totem, an absolute dynasty, not just in EMEA, but in Brawl Esports as a whole.
They are 7th in their region, didn't qualify for February and August, and still made it to LCQ. They can thank Humble and SK's performance. They got those 2 spots for the EMEA region at World Cup.
I mean, Reply Totem, they are the very epitome of historically saving the best for last as an org. I mean, who can forget their battle against the odds of the 2024 LCQ, cementing their place in the World Finals after knocking out Tribe Gaming of all teams. That was the first World Finals that Tribe Gaming did not make because of that very situation. They almost got reverse swept, but they persevered through. And Angel Boy, was the shining star of all the players at LCQ 2023. He knows what it takes to earn a golden ticket and see it to his World Finals. So if there's anyone that can do it, it's him.
Reply Totem has always been Maru and Maori finding a leader. It worked super well together with Joker last year. They tried with Chaos. This year they're here with Angel Boy. And so far, they did not have the success they were hoping for. Replace now their coach Gastios with Rage. Maybe that's what they needed. But it's so interesting to me. Mario and Maru have the most experience of all the players that are here with 10 LAN events. And still they need that leader, that IGL, and someone to draft.
There's so much to talk about in terms of this team formula. Reply Totem, for the last several years, have succeeded with this formula of Mario and Maru, and then they get a cracked third to pop off. I'm just not really seeing it manifest just yet here from Angel Boy. It still seems to be a work in progress. They make it through LCQ, and they've got some time to work things out before Worlds, unless we're going to watch it unfold on the stage here.
Oh my god.
That's a juicy pick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Showing a trunk today.
I did not expect that.
What up, Chopper?
We were discussing it behind the scenes as well, if Trunk was going to be a brawler, which we would see. I think this is not the map. I said that I would expect to see it maybe in Dueling Beetles, but I think it can work in Ring of Fire. It's just going to be a very tough thing if, at this stage of the draft, that's my concern.
Bans pretty much the same as we have seen before as well. Mina's going to be banned out again. Ollie would be opening here, technically a very strong bowler. We talked about him coming into today. But what I'm looking out for here is Meg, exactly. Meg, pairing her with a Byron or a Jae Young is super, super strong in the map with that healer in the back. Never even dropping out of Mecha. She's going to be one of the best bowlers. I'm honestly surprised to not see her banned out here.
Going to keep that range versus Trunk as well. He's not going to be that much of a threat. Just all about that control. You say Byron, I think there's real potential for that to happen. Ruffs, okay. So they're going to go ahead and give a hypercharge over to her brawler. What exactly are they planning here? Ruffs has actually been a very totem pick lately, but I'm still curious as to how exactly this is going to work out. Are they going to try a Ruffs and Meg mid, or maybe they're just trying to take it away from Chapter of Happiness so they can pair it up with the Byron or something?
We're going to come in for Chapter of Happiness. I quite like the Ruffs. I think breaking that little L wall could maybe be a place that they can start to tap into the trunk leading into the map. So Gray going to be having those TPs coming into the middle of the map. I think that that's kind of like the cheese comp that they might be starting to cook here. Now have the trunk go in with the Gray and maybe add something like a Jackie or just something like a Doug into this equation to keep them really riding in the mid. That would be the worst of it is.
Whoa.
In with the Frank instead. But I feel like that's what you have to draft against a lot of this outsider region, because having a bit of cheese comp, it could be the way to win it.
Let's see if we're still going to see our healer here on the side of Reply Totem. Both Young and Byron still are available, or something a bit more aggressive. I would love to see a Kaze, for example, against Frank. Not too shabby. And they also have some survivability with it against the Grey when he decides to go in. We have a couple seconds left here for Reply Totem's last pick. They're going to go full tank counter with Colette here against the Frank. Not something I expected, but honestly, it can work.
Definitely flashy. We've seen this played on Ring of Fire. It's been a while, but I think the last time I remember seeing it was Tampa when he actually got a team kill. If you watch Kenny's video, then you'll know it's recorded as one of the biggest pop-off plays in BST history. I was kind of expecting an Otis, I'm not going to lie. Since he got, you can actually three-shot a Frank now, so it's an important interaction to be able to stun people coming out of that teleport. But now it's all underway. Reply Totem. This org, this duo of Mary that has been in every single World Final since 2021 and Chapter of Happiness, the newcomers from a region that has still yet to show us its best.
This would be the toughest match of Chapter of Happiness's career thus far. And already, Reply Totem looking very, very comfortable. A nice break on the right-hand side, leaving over that buff to Maru. That Colette pick, which is going to do wonders. He runs the Frank. And already, Chapter of Happiness having a tough time even getting out of spawn. A lovely double takedown there for Maru.
As a huge aggressive play in from Maru, we're looking also at the team composition here. Angel Boy's supposed to be the pop-off over here. Is going to be giving that hypercharge to Maru, and that's what they're going to be doing. Really, really crafty. Reply Totem has earned a reputation for doing this. Now they've got Drage at the helm, helping them out with this draft. Maru now with a diff on the Valentine, but he's got to be ready for when another enemy teleports in. Maru now on the left side taking the flank. Maru in with a super. Yuchang looks for one. Why? A team wipe from Trunk, and Chapter of Happiness is in position.
And litter the map. But I don't think Toast are going to be too deterred by it. A great pitch to get straight back into action. And they've got a substantial lead. Maru there gets sucked in by the Walking Cane, but stays alive. The circle's super wondrously well from him. And staying on the zone, objective in hand. Reply Totem get the first game.
Well done, Totem. Don't mean to spoil the story here, but this is what we expected. Reply Totem showing up in full force. Wounded warriors as they may be, they're still a top-tier team. Mary, this duo, they've made every single World Finals since 2021. I cannot overemphasize that. But I was quite impressed by that team wipe from Trump. So I won't lie, I think Totem kind of know that they already have this one in the bag. They're up here pushing the buttons, just doing what they need to do, because I think they've already won with a draft diff.
It was a very, very smart draft. You've got to give a lot of credit to Drake for that. And his Colette was great. Fantastic. Maru just having an absolute ball here. And despite their Chapter of Happiness having a pretty decent start, it's already dwindling. And now Reply Totem to take an affirming role in the mid.
Here comes Maru. Pops up 10k years on the left side. Didn't quite hit him on the return from the Colette super, but still, Reply Totem are in firm control. They have a couple of rough streaks under their belt. Angel Boy and Maru both combined to take down Trunk on the left side. And now Maru on the right side is ready to receive a hypercharge. Or is it going to be Maru? He's trying to do it mid-super and manages to do so. It's 2 hypercharges available for Reply Totem. But they're not popping them just yet, no. Not until they really need them. That's another tree from Colonel Ruff. Just in case someone, dies and has to come back and respawn. Maru now with a hypercharge of his own, and Maru combines. Reply Totem now count up to 75%.
10k years they're going in. I mean, to what avail? It was going to be a certain death. Hypercharge for the Frank of Valentine does get some work done, but it's not enough, really. You can just see here, Chapter of Happiness really have met their match so far. Maori staying on the zone as well, just buying valuable time for his team. Knocked out the mech, but now the respawn will see him straight back into it. Just 10% needed for Reply Totem.
Maru's got that super hit 2, nearly 3. Yuchang takes him down on the left side now. Angel Boy pushes forward. That's exactly what they needed. The celebration super for Maru backs down on the right side. Totem are off to a phenomenal start, breezing past Chapter of Happiness in set number 1.
There were some moments for Chapter of Happiness. It wasn't a complete steamroll. We've got to have some reservations there. I think Reply Totem coming out the gates very strong, though. Look at that. 16 for Maori on the Meg. I think Maori, though, as well, that Colette was just... I think getting Drage on board now as well, who... Now, for Maru and Maori, who have always made the World Finals, they've got to all come together now and just really just share how important this victory is for them.
The last chance qualifier is a tournament of not yet. You're not yet at the World Finals. Are you World Finals worthy? Hey, maybe not yet. And I'll tell you, Totem is another one of those teams that strikes me as, have they really found their footing? Not quite yet. Where is Angel Boy's role in this team? In previous years, they've had Chaos. They've had Joker be the pop-off player that coordinates the team. Angel Boy, I still got question marks about the guy. He's a phenomenal player. He has gone absolutely insane. We still talk about LCQ 2023 2 entire years later because that is the level of impact that he has left on this game. He's trying to do it once again, make it through that last chance qualifier. Unlike last year's performance. Reply Totem, we're going to go ahead and snag this Ollie. Buster is on the table for anyone who wants it. Note also some of the bans for Reply Totem. They've gotten rid of that Colonel Ruffs. It's so useful for enabling one of those hypercharged brawlers.
Yeah, Ollie's the most picked brawler on this map throughout the teams of this LCQ and this scrim, so no surprises to see that brawler come through. Ruffs ban out, quite a rarity, but I think it makes a lot of sense here as Cordelius comes in for Chapter of Happiness, a brawler which I think has made a real stamp on the meta currently as well, so good to see that one come through. Janet could have a potential appearance here. I think Charlie as well could be another idea to shut down this Ollie if they want to double down on it. But Dre speaks very highly of Cordelius, so I mean, looking there, maybe I'd like to have got it themselves.
I think Janet as well would be a fantastic pickup because, see, Deathcap Trap is a new map in the rotation. Now, people are always going to be upset with changes because it means that they have to rework their strategy and they got to do something new that's uncomfortable. But also just the feedback that I've heard from players on Deathcap Trap is that you're so vulnerable to just getting jumped on at the moment. It could be Kaze, it could be Ollie. In the case of Chapter of Happiness, it is going to be Ollie, so they need something to stop it. Cordelius is a great method to do so. Janet, I think, would be a really safe way to deal with it. You've also got, Charlie over here. Previously, we saw her run Spiders. I think she really, really needs to run Cocoon here so she can play a mid, because I don't know why Chapter of Happiness would really be saving a mid for their last pick.
They did choose to double down with the Charlie as well, which is interesting. That might deter the Hank away from Reply Totem and consider it on the side of Chapter of Happiness. Reply Totem Lover Max as well, a brawler which is not really in the meta, and I think that could be a fantastic way to really add additional speed to the Jae Young or a Standy. The Standy kind of combined with heals and speed can do so much work. Bonnie as well, potential. Maybe not so much now that the Charlie and the Cordelius is in the side of Chapter of Happiness, but if they want to just kind of brute force the situation, is there. All the guts, combine the guts with the Ollie. Griff going to break open everything, which might be counterintuitive. I mean, you want the Ollie to be able to ride up the back of the walls. Even the Star Power can give you additional speed by doing so. But it seems that they're going to have somewhat of an open side and just communicate it. Keep some of the map closed, open up the rest.
Yeah, I think it's going to hurt Cordelius most of all to have some walls broken open. Don't really quite know how Angel Boy is going to get his super. They may opt to break open half the map. Sometimes you'll see people pick up Griff because they actually plan on breaking absolutely nothing. Here comes Lumi. This one could catch Reply Totem out, just in a bad position because she's going to throw those maces forward. Then as soon as someone even slightly underestimates her range, she's going to pop that gadget. People are going to slide forward. They're going to be out of position. It's going to be perfect for Charlie to cocoon and get those gems, or maybe for, interesting. Was it the opposite way around? Nonetheless, look at that audience. Wow, it's so wonderful to be here in Brazil with the fans.
Yeah, the energy is just so awesome. Everyone having a party, as you'd expect.
Yes.
Brazil, carnival, no less. And I mean, this is just day one as well. That's the crazy thing.
Yes.
The more time goes on, the more is on the line, and that crowd is only going to get louder. So stick around. It's going to be a very, very enjoyable ride. Now, for Reply Totem, they've got to be ensuring they do not drop this set. Keep the pressure on Chapter of Happiness, the team which haven't really had that LAN experience. Reply Totem are a team which are able to kind of stand the heat, draw out the timer, and keep their dream alive just by just being present in the moment. Chapter of Happiness could very easily crumble here by dropping another set.
I'm holding my tongue here because I still really want to be impressed by Chapter of Happiness. This total unknown coming here to the last chance qualifier as the third seed for mainland China, a region that actually, until Brawl Cup, it didn't really impress us that much. I still, though, to this day, remember the World Finals in 2023, where we saw these players on Toxic Lotus, who will be playing elsewhere in the bracket, take 2 threes against the opponents that they lost to in the group stage versus both Revenant and Luminosity. So, Chapter of Happiness, if by any proxy, they should have something here. We saw some minor plays, but I just saw gaping holes left in the draft. Colette, you don't really see that often because guess what? drafts are usually pretty airtight at this level for something that's, pretty off meta to come in and totally wipe your team like that.
Just to clarify, players are not yet in, so you're not missing any of the action. I can see Maru in the menu, so I think this will be resetting the lobby. That allows us to chill out with the crowd, and I'm all for it. I mean, again, I'm really loving seeing so much energy there. Is that dance in the background there? I saw dance earlier. I went to give him a fist bump, but he grabbed my fist. It was the most awkward thing I've ever experienced. But great to see him here supporting his home region. He's had a fantastic year, Dance, by the way. I mean, just qualifying 2 teams to the World Finals, and I mean, he's just been phenomenal as a coach. And again, we were saying earlier just how important the draft is, and I think he's a prime person to talk about when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, imagine being like so successful that your biggest issue is the fact that you can't coach 2 teams at once and that you have to choose. SKC go to the World Finals and wait a minute, now SDMN's go to the World Finals. What's going on, man? We're in game. Reply Totem already up by 1 set versus Chapter of Happiness here with the Lumi on lane. Will they impress us here and show us what the 3rd seed in China is made of?
Maru already in the realm, but that could also be an advantage to push forwards and put some pressure on. I would suggest that Charlie is lurking, and Valentine has to really stay on Maru, who's not doing the best job so far. Maru jumps over the wall, and didn't quite then connect with the hypnosis. Now the taps are there. Angel Boy with the 5 gems, Reply Totem, and Maru playing Protect the President.
Just staving off this Lumi. Not really the greatest matchup for him, but I don't see a single really good matchup for him at all. It's really just here for the wall break. And Griff, not really the greatest at breaking walls, but Reply Totem went ahead and got rid of the Colonel Ruff, so they're a little bit pressed for options. Here comes Maru 4, looking for the Hypnosis onto the Charlie. Is it going to be successful? We'll see in a moment. Yu Chong with the takedown on Maru, and Valentine survives to pick up gem number 3. Reply Totem, though, are still far in the lead. Here comes the speed for Mary to close around the right side. Potential pinch to get Angel Boy 4, but Yu Chong is weaving forward, looking for the kill versus Maru. But look at those shoots. It ends up only being a trade, thanks to the dodges for Maru.
Now, Angel Boy has got to be so cautious in this mid. 1 cocoon will drop those 7 gems onto the floor, and they could be for the taking then. The Chapter of Happiness, but now the hypercharge of the Oli connects. It's devastating. Maru is all over this. It's going to be a triple. He gets it. And for Reply Totem, they get all the gems and bring them straight back to spawn.
Angel Boy safe and sound. Look at Chapter of Happiness. All they've really got to their name is this hypercharge from Lumi. Would much rather have a super to pair with it. She's going to get it. Now speed 4. Maru looking for the Hypnosis. Wow! Making a kill with Mary on the super. Reply Totem with yet another game under their belt. And they're looking phenomenal right now. Pretty airtight, these guys. That Ollie hypercharge is not something to mess with.
It was a big topic coming into today. Just how much of the threat is Ollie? Well, there you go, folks. That says it all. It's just so suppressive, so quick, and when you cycle it like that, a triple wipe is just ridiculous. Reply Totem now have got to be feeling very good about this. They cannot get ahead of themselves again. But Charlie on the other end of the field, the gems are always in potential peril.
And I'll also point out that she went into the cocoon when Ollie super forward, but the entire force of Reply Totem converged onto that cocoon to disrupt the enemy gem carrier. See Yu Chong in the correct position, being the counter to this Ollie, just trying to stay within the radius and away from him, not feeding that super. He's doing a phenomenal job so far, I'm not gonna lie. He's got the super as well, but he will eventually get pinched out by Angel Boy. The thing is, with Charlie, she can survive. She can play anti-Ollie, but besides that, she's really not that great of a brawler right now. When you don't have the spiders to move forward, it's even worse.
And again, slow and steady for Reply Totem until the time in which Maru and Mary have to pop off and give the space for Angel Boy to get those 10 gems in the pocket. Maru in the realm gets the Hypnosis off though as well and should secure the kill, which allows them to continue forwards, gets them a little bit of Hypnosis onto the Charlie, who's forced into the cocoon, but the gems are spilled. Mary in a massive world of hurt. Should he survive? No! The Morning Star of the Lumi secures the kill, but can they get the gems? They're still there. Reply Totem have been able to hold things off for now. Oh! The Cordelis comes in clutch. A countdown for Chapter of Happiness, but this could well turn into a game.
They've popped both of their hypers, but Yu Chong has a super. He's going to have to use it when Maru's super is in. Here he comes around the right side. Could also take down Yu Chong. He's in the realm. Just 3 seconds to go. Maru over to the right side, trying to take down Valentine in the cocoon. No! 160 HP keeps him alive and gets Chapter of Happiness a game. This team of newbies from a region that has yet to impress us at international lands will get a game off of these veterans of Brawl.
Can Chapter of Happiness turn a game now into a set? And just polish things a little bit for Reply Totem. We're looking so close to just taking 2 sets ahead, which could be a very tough ask for Chapter of Happiness to be able to come back from straight into the mid for Angel Boy, now working a bit more aggressively forwards, as he's got time to do so. Charlie has knocked the cocoon, and now siding with Maru to get this written down. Maru in the realm, comes out on top. That's going to put a lot of pressure now on this Chapter of Happiness defense.
Oh yeah, and even talking the metagame right here, Reply Totems seem to be leaning forward in their gaming chairs, so to speak. They are not about to take that loss lightly. You see Angel Boy in such an aggressive position. Now, attempting to help Maru. He's receiving comms from Maru where Diuchung is. He's right on top of him. Needs to know Diuchung over to the left side. Tries to pop out of the realm inside the bush. Cycled that super onto Maru, who is not able to stay alive in the realm. That's a cocoon from Charlie. Should get taken down here. That gem topples onto the ground. Diuchung's going to stay alive and keep away from that gem. Angel Boy only needs one more. It's going to be a few seconds before he gets that opportunity, but really could use some assistance from his team. With Ollie taken down, he's solo and needs a pinch from the left lane so he can push forward and grab the last one for the countdown.
Barry is giving some fantastic taps here on his right-hand side, and now going to break. Is it the best of breaks then? Leaves 2 walls up. Gives you a little bit of something, but not great. Angel Boy now comes straight out. They're going to take any chance. Pops the Weekend Warrior gadget, and that is wise. They do still require one more gem for Reply Totem, and sometimes these desperate moments can get ahead of yourselves unless you play it cool, calm, and collected. They do not want to rush this gem, especially as that Charlie is lurking.
Reply Totem keep waiting for the perfect moment to move in with Maru, and what ends up happening is that they can't find anything at all. Diuchung gets the... Whoa! Angel Boy with the gadget to send him down. And Maru's got the last one. That's 10 gems. Barely enough time, actually, for Chapter of Happiness to interrupt this two-totem. No, yeah, they do. Here comes Maru to get the kills. And Chapter of Happiness are not going to sit there at mid. Angel Boy taken down at the respawn. Not enough time, though. Maru circles around with the hypercharge. 10K here is still alive. He's going to be staggered in the respawn. It's going to be a 2v3 for this final fight.
10 seconds. There is time, but it's going to be very, very tough. There's too much defensiveness here for Reply Totem, in my opinion. Some gems dropped, but it doesn't matter because Maru is on 60. But can he get super in time? He wins it in the realm. Very close call, but it is going to be Reply Totem that do take the set. But we've got to be honest. Chapter of Happiness, they're getting some moments, they're getting some plays, but the time is running out for them.
Chapter of Happiness, if nothing else, they have been consistent, I will say. I don't think I saw any major differences in the gameplay. You know, the comp was certainly different. That's why we saw a difference in outcomes. But when it comes to Reply Totem, I want to put the onus on them for letting that happen in game number 2. They were too far pushed up. In game number 3, they course-corrected so majorly. You can see that Maru was so timid to move forward into Diuchung, and for good reason. He picked up the most kills on the squad, pretty much putting the rest of the team on his back in some situations. Well done for Chapter of Happiness. They've gotten one game. That's a stepping stone, but they cannot afford another mistake. One more set loss, and it goes to Totem.
And for a Chapter of Happiness, they do have to look upon those stats and say to themselves, you know, we can do this. Not, well, how do we lose that?
Yeah,
It's the mentality of the situation. And that's where experience really does shine through in the most, decorative players and teams. They're not quite there yet. So they've got to really kind of harness that positivity forwards because there can easily be a set here for them. I think their drafting is pretty decent. I mean, they chose to double down with the Charlie and the forgiveness, and it worked pretty well. It made Reply Totem think much more, twice around going into the mid. They can go nearly as aggressive. So there are moments here which make me think there could be a set, at least coming in the Chinese mainland region.
You'll notice that Totem, they were only willing to fight 3v3s. They would never fight a 2v2. They just wouldn't take the risk, even though it's actually a pretty calculated fight over there. And I think, once again, that just comes back to one of the core things that I've noticed about Totem is that they're playing differently than they have in previous years. They have to have someone that goes aggressive, takes the risks. I wonder if they really trust themselves that they can still flourish in these aggressive scenarios. Well, they're not going to have a choice here on Sunny Soccer. I would much rather be on offense than on defense on this map. Look at how odd it is. I've had opinions about Sunny Soccer for a very, very long time. Split things up. You've really only got 2 lanes over here. Oh, now it becomes 4, but never 3. Such a complicated map that's going to trip up even the most experienced people.
off now coming in. And let's see what the bans will be for Sunny Soccer. It's a Brawl Ball map. This is actually the highest win rate game mode for Reply Totem. So this is an opportunity massively so here for them to get ahead here, to bring some of those tanky brawlers back in, maybe have a healer behind it also. It's a map which, again, I'm looking for Otis here as being one of the most picked brawlers. Even Mo making a few appearances here. It's going to be Mina Band out and the Ollie. No surprises there. And the Lumi for Chapter of Happiness. The Lumi, the Kit, and the Shade for Reply Totem banned out now. The first pick for Reply Totem. They've actually been playing Meeple here, which is a really interesting brawler pick in their scrims. Cordelius. Again, I said that Drage has been saying some massively important and impressive things around that particular brawler since LCQ, and it was the first pick. There's the Mo, yeah. It's an odd brawler which is coming through just a little bit more recently ready. They're going to pair it with the Frank.
That Frank counter pick? Still, I want to see an Otis over here. There's a little bit of it in those scrims. It is so strong right now. Bring us this stun and show us something special. But it just did not work out at all on Ring of Fire for 7. There is the Otis from Reply Totem. They know that they can catch that Mo coming out from underground. They know that they can interrupt a Frank as well. And I guess they're going to let him be his own undoing as well, because he will be breaking down some of those walls, of course. What else will Reply Totem? Are they just going to play counter to this tanky, aggressive stuff from Chapter of Happiness? It's what I've heard. Word on the street is that in China, they love to have some tanky brawlers, and they simply run at you. It's going to be made a lot more difficult by what Reply Totem has chosen over here, given that they've gone with some of the biggest counter picks in the game.
What will the final pick be here for Chapter of Happiness? Got to consider this Kenji big time. They haven't really got a response for it just yet. It could be a Charlie in that regard, considering that the Otis is not really for the taking. Or a Willow could be quite good for defense. Tara, they're going to come in, and not necessarily the ball that I had in mind. It's not. It's decent. It's good. It's not in a bad place whatsoever. But for this map, it's just going to be okay. I feel it's going to be pretty decent into the Kenji. There's certainly something to think about, but. Python's got the aggression. Frank is definitely going to be that brawler for Chapter of Happiness, but it's not really the kind of meta brawler pick that I'm expecting to see at the moment.
No, not quite. With the Tara final selection, it has me just a little bit concerned for Reply Totem, because once again, one of my main criticisms is that they have been prone to falling into some pretty timid scenarios, playing very, very calculated, which they, honestly speaking, can't afford risks. Look at how they're playing now. Maru now switching lanes with Angel Boy. They're opting to put Cordelius on mid. Seems to be a better matchup for him. Maru's putting down to Valentine. Even gets the mute on him. That's a good one. Angel Boy with a roll forward. And no defense. And that is why this map is so hazardous. You can shoot the ball from midfield and get a goal.
Well, Valentine does have a super here, of course, straight into the round by Angel Boy. Leaving Maru and Maori here on the field. There's Tara super. This could be a great time to consider using it, and Maru knows it goes into that reason. Doesn't come out alive though. That's troublesome. Hyper charge done for Maori. Just the right timing as well. Onto the perfect candidate of the Frank. There's a hyper charge now for the Tara too. And on a map like this, it could be quite devastating, but it looks like Totem can make a run for it regardless. That's from midfield, and Maru scores it. And as quickly as that, a 1-minute game and a match point scenario for Reply Totem.
One game off for Reply Totem. One score. Getting deep in the last chance qualifier. They did it last year. They made it deep in the World Finals as well, taking 4th place. Folks, are we watching the beginning of yet another Cinderella story in Brawl esports? It's a little bit early, but they can make a splash by taking a 3-0 versus Chapter of Happiness and dropping one game along the way.
Let's see. For a Chapter of Happiness to do something to claim at least a set. If not, it will have to be just a game, or maybe 2, if they can take it to a little bit longer in this series. Maori coming back in off the spawn. Great taps there from Maori onto the right-hand side as well. As Frank is troublesome. Oh, look at that. The round was there just to evade that. Frank's doing perfect precision from Angel Boy. Continuing the assault, leaving them over 1 HP, and the ball goes in for Maru. Just one more goal. The Reply Totem will have this one in the back.
You gotta love Landman. Maru gliding forward to receive the dribble to himself, but here comes Yu Chang, and he's got a hypercharge to use as well. Wisely supers the ball over to the left side, knew that he was going to have that in the drilled for him anyway. Heckate was forward with a super, doesn't really amount to much. Now he's in the realm. Angel Boy's going to let him sit there, but Valentine's got other plans. Ooh, tried to get Angel Boy coming out of the realm, but was completely off on the timing. And that's just because this is a team of newbies. They lack that game sense. Yu Chong, nowhere to be seen. Reply Totem take the match. 3-0 in sets. One game dropped along the way. These veterans of Brawl are once more on a warpath to the World Finals.
A dominant series for Reply Totem, taking no chances. Just the one game dropped, but pretty clean for the most part. Definitely some blunders on the side of Chuck for Happiness towards the end there, allowing the straight run for the goal, Mary. And just again, a bit of a lack of experience, possibly some nerves as well. The Chinese mainland not out just yet, but it is looking bleak.
It's not looking so good for the region as a whole. You know, if we talk about seed number 3 from mainland China, as I've said before, a region that has only wowed us with one team yet, and guess what? They've been, as I say, the most winningest team for a pretty darn long time, and it shows why. Chapter of Happiness just did not show us their best. I hope we get to see better out of them tomorrow, but from Reply Totem, I think we got to see most of what was going on. They're good. They're solid. It's still a work in progress. They got pretty timid there in Gym Grab, I'm not gonna lie.
It went the way we kind of expected here. Reply Totem takes the win here. Novi does so as well. They're going to be facing up next year in round 2 for Chapter of Happiness. It's not over yet either. They're going to go up against Up4 Esports in the lower bracket arc. You feel like, Reply Totem or Navi is going to advance to day 3?
It's a very, very closely knit match that. When you look at the Navi roster, historically they've really struggled at LCQ last year. You know, we saw them out in the very early stages.
Always the bad guys next to Loud. Every single LAN event they played in this region, they've been the opponent. All that training has paid off. Arthur has been in the queue, so I think Arthur, you can be.
The first team, the next generation of talents, is here. The next one, welcome to their house. And nobody leaves unless they come back as champions. Make some noise and welcome to the stage, Experience NXT and Casa Brawl Esports!
Casa Brawl on the right-hand side, the old guard with lots of LAN experience. It looks like they had everything under control. This is going to be their region this year. And after that, things crumbled.
No jet lag, and the whole crowd supporting them. The hometown heroes could bring it home and keep it here. They perform well versus Experian NXT. New kids on the block. We've got Wounded Warriors. They've fallen from grace, making the last chance qualifier instead of going to Worlds like they did last year. And then, of course, Experian NXT, possibly here as a stepping stone, especially Arthur, a true prodigy in the EMEA region.
I want to touch on the roster change as well for Casa Brawl because they dropped Jubilee mid-season for Doritos, which, you know, when compared to his team, has got like the least credentials, you know, when you look upon their experience at World Finals and such. But that's the reason why I feel like he's going to be hungry for it. You know, he was at the LCQ, fell short in 2023 with Datus FA, and he's going to make good on that scenario. It's definitely not going to be an easy match, in my opinion. I think they've got in Experience NXT. They might have some nerves. They've definitely got to put aside.
Definitely feel like with the Ritos, they've brought in a player they needed, looking strong here on the stage today, being backed by all of the crowd. I don't see many people waving any NXT flags over here. But yeah, the Ritos, the leader that they really needed, I feel. And let's see how the draft's going to be as well. NXT, of course, also had Info at their side. I'm sure he's going to have something in his sleeves as well, as he has already coached teams like Totem 2 years ago, 8th Division, 2 World Finals. He should be able to help them.
My goodness. Sorry, I'm just so fixated on the one flag that we see in here. You see Experian NXT's got 0 flags. And, oh, wow. Oh, yeah, only 1 for Casa Brawl. It's massive. It covers an entire set of bleachers. And look at that. Nah, that's the whole world. That's the, I think that's the whole world thinking EMEA is a superior region. Yeah, I think it is.
I'm surprised to see that. We saw BCJ Gaming had like roughly 79% votes. Now Casper Brawl with only 40%.
No.
What happened to Aaron? Mina's like,
No.
the band's immediately is gonna be picked up. This is her premiere at a LAN. And she's gonna be picked up first. Why does NXT not ban her, Art?
I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. We can at least say for certain that Mina is not going to have a 100% ban rate. I mean, that's what I'm for. The question now is she going to have a 100% win rate, you know? And I think for all intents and purposes, Castle Brawl should... I mean, we were saying really about this very region. They love those utility brawlers, those agile, fast brawlers, and that's one of the straight in the hands of Castle Brawl, which Experience NXT should definitely ban.
This is Experience NXT handing that over to Costa, saying, you want it? If you don't, then we're going to pick it. This is their plan as the team with the last pick. And now, really the question is, how well did you prepare, Costa? Did you think that Mina was always going to be banned? Hours on the brawler, just a
in the top 20 of brawlers on this map.
It's a bit of a head scratcher for me, not gonna lie. Haven't seen 8-bit on this map for a long time. Yes, you can TP into the map and get quickly off the spawn despite your slow and sluggish walking pace. But it's not really a brawler that just comes to mind when we talk about what is the strengths of this very map. Penny, it's not necessarily new meta on this map. I can see it being a threat, certainly, being popped in that L-shaped cavern, but they are very odd final picks, I must say.
new meta. Love hearing about all that stuff. Let's talk about that Penny. I feel like that turret's going to be placed in a position where Costa won't be able to do anything versus it. In fact, it's actually one of the best things that you can play into 8-bit. He's not able to put down his turret protectively, and it's going to be targeted by the turret. Let's see what Experience NXT has to offer. It is the new kids on the block versus some of the old guard of Brawl, and they've only temporarily fallen to the LCQ level here in their home region.
Already some good aggression, but immediately Pekka coming in to clear house. And that is a person who's going to be so dangerous on this kind of brawler. Some of Pekka's best moments last year came from brawlers that get up in your face. Mortis and tankier options as well. I think it's going to be right at home with this Mina pick already. Castle Brawl starting to inch further forwards towards that 40%.
Now Rupp gets to move forward as well. We'll see Amos also cycle over to the left side, but there's nothing really to deal with this turret. They don't have the range for it. You see also Bell and 8-bit were picked together. Absolutely classic pairing to keep that 8-bit safe from one of its most difficult counters. And you'll see Pekka clean up on the left side so easily. Rupp just going in solo. What's the guy going for? Did get the kill onto Doritos. That is value right there. But it's so unusual. You can see the desperation and Experience NXT's gameplay.
Now there is so much weight on the shoulders of Experience NXT. Pekka just clearing up that left-hand side wondrously well, but a great mark from him.